Hi, it's Christy. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited to introduce you guys to Taylor. She is a clinical herbalist and she is just awesome. So I'm super excited for you guys to get all this information we have for you today. We are talking about fertility, and I know that is a sensitive subject, so I just wanted to let you know that my heart goes to all of you that have struggled with fertility, or maybe you know someone. I just hope this can be a great resource for you. And just wanted to let you know that I am praying for all of you, and thank you so much for being here.
Okay, Taylor, thank you so much for coming on, and I'm just really thankful to have you. So I
I
hope you're
appreciate
excited.
it. Yeah, absolutely.
So we actually met. Do you remember?
Oh my gosh, no. Tell me.
I had to hit record before I threw that on you.
Yeah.
So we met in person. I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago at the Indiana. It was
Yeah.
what was that conference called?
Nourish. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So you were presenting, and I was like, this girl is on to something. And I sat through your presentation. I was like, this is amazing. So actually, I still I still have
Thank
this.
you. Oh, that's so cute. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it really impacted me. And so I started following you on social media, and I got one of your blended teas for, I think it was for like my immune system, and loved it. So I'm
Well,
excited to have you.
very cool. Thank you
Yeah,
so much. Yeah.
no problem.
Um, that's my goal there, to share the plants in like the way that they are so beautiful, and so that people can really tangibly grab onto what they can offer.
Yeah,
So thank you.
it like blew my mind. I mean, I hadn't really been introduced to that, I don't think, before until going there. And so I was like, wow, this makes so much sense. But it was
Mhm.
awesome. So
Yeah, plants are so cool. They are so cool.
so I'm excited to share that with everybody. So first, if you just want to tell us about you and how you got into this and a little bit about your business.
Yeah, absolutely. So my journey started when I was younger. I was like experiencing a lot of different health issues, digestive issues, anxiety, hormone imbalance. And in the search of what was wrong, my mom took me to a doctor, and I just felt like I was dismissed and they weren't listening.
Yeah.
And they just like sent me out the door with some pills without running a single test. And I was in a lot of pain,
Yeah.
that wasn't normal. I was 13 or 14 at the time. So it's
Oh,
eighth
wow.
grade. Yeah. And just being very inquisitive, I just kept asking why, like, what could be at the root of this? What is going to be the cause of it? And I learned more about nutrition, and it just led me into a rabbit hole of meeting new people. And I was really fortunate that a family friend, she introduced me to a couple different teas, and I began drinking them. And something in me, it was like a gut level instinct, just told me this is what you need right now. And so I fully committed,
That is
which meant
amazing.
yeah, which meant drinking teas 3, sometimes 4 times a day for
Wow.
several months.
Wow.
So I would say by about the third month is when I really started to notice a drastic reduction in all my symptoms. And by 6 months, most of my IBS was actually almost completely resolved, which was super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you
And so that
you were 13 at this time, you said?
I
Or
was, yeah, about 14.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So that just ignited a passion in me, and I wanted to know more, and I wanted to understand how the body worked. And I continued to study, and I started going to school and working in various health food stores. And that just it led me down a rabbit hole. And then I ended up going to a medical school. It's a naturopathic medical school
Okay.
out near Seattle, Washington. And I received a bachelor's in herbal science there.
Okay.
So yeah, I had full intentions of becoming a naturopathic doctor.
Okay.
But once I got involved with the herbs and became an herbalist, I just knew like this was it. This was my
That's it.
calling, and I'm fully fulfilled just stopping here.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And for you to be, I mean, thank goodness for that family friends to introduce you to that, because like I said, I mean, there's just so much that even me being in the health field, I hadn't really been introduced to plants and herbs like that before. So that's
Mhm.
just amazing that the family friend introduced you. So
Yeah, it was like a series of happy accidents. I mean, I'm so, so grateful for it. She's actually from Bolivia. So I just remember her saying to me, she's like, oh, honey, you like we in my country, we just do things the natural way. Like, come
yeah.
drink tea with me. And it
You're
was
like,
so
okay.
inviting.
That is so sweet. That's so
Yeah.
cute. So does she know that you like it catapulted you into this career that you have? Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's
She
awesome.
knows. Definitely. Yeah. Super grateful for her.
Awesome.
But yeah, so that led me down the path of becoming an herbalist. And I took my focus rather than on just like learning how to grow and make medicine, but rather becoming what's called a clinical herbalist.
Okay.
And so I spend time doing health consultations with people, coaching them through, guiding them, and creating formulas that I believe are energetically aligned for them.
Okay.
And that takes form in reading blood work from people, and taking a lot of questions, and then doing what's called a constitutional assessment. And so we study the tongue, the face, and pulse diagnostics.
Okay.
And that stems from like Chinese medicine and Ayurveda
Yeah.
to really get a picture of what herbs are right for which person, which
Yeah.
is missing a lot of herbalism these days.
Okay. Yeah. Cause it's not a one size fits all, I'm sure.
No, it's not. I mean, so many herbs are harmless and they will benefit you in some way. But if we
Mhm.
can find the right herbs that are going to match you, you're going to, your healing is just going to go so much faster.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So
Yeah.
do you do these consultations mostly in person or do you do some of them online?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Either or. Yeah. My office is in Plainfield, which is
Okay.
west of Indianapolis.
Okay. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
So today we want to talk about fertility, right? As
Hmm.
the main. Okay. So this is an awesome subject, but it can also be a little, I want to be very sensitive to people, but I'm excited hopefully to give some women a different resource through you and just see if we can help as many people as we can. So why don't you tell me a little bit about how some plants can help with fertility?
Yes. Okay. So we have to remember that fertility is not this obsolete mechanism in the body that's separate from everything else. Fertility is an indicator of a well-nourished, functioning, and vital body.
Okay.
So in true holistic fashion, we need to think about all the ways that we can support you in healing in multiple facets. So your sleep, your diet, your digestion, your stress levels, they're all going to play a role in your fertility. And so there's many different ways that we can approach this, but to give you a couple ideas, I think plants are incredible at nourishing us. And there's so many plant medicines that are actually more like food, and they can really put like spinach and kale to shame on their nutrient density.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. I have a really cool chart I can share with you guys
Okay.
that
Yeah, that'd
shows
be
you
great.
the difference. Yeah. So they are mineral dense plants like nettle and oat straw, raspberry leaf. And you can consume lots and lots of these as foods or as teas, and they will really help your body because it's bioavailable nutrition,
Okay.
you know.
Yeah.
So that's super helpful. But then on a nervous system level, the right remedies can help us to feel grounded and safe, secure. And they can also induce deep restorative sleep, which is super helpful for hormones, your blood sugar balance, your stress levels, and so much more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We could do a whole subject probably on stress.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. There's so many ways to approach it too. But then herbs are superstars at balancing hormones. I mean, there's so many herbs out there that are what we call like normalizers. And so they can bring hormone levels that are too high or too low right into balance.
right,
It doesn't matter.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I learned
Exactly.
that from
Really?
from
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. We call them hormone modulators.
Okay.
So they modulate whether it's too high or too low. Now, some are stimulating, and we'll get into that. But yeah, I mean, one of my favorite stories was back in my freshman year of college, and I had just come off of almost a year-long stint on birth control, and it made me super sick. I was one of those people that became very ill from it, and I had ruptured ovarian cysts every single month for almost a year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so there was a whole bunch of other horrible symptoms that came with that hormonal roller coaster.
Yeah.
But it was this moment. I was working in a health food store and I was looking at all the options for herbs for hormone balance, and just something led me to this one tincture. I didn't know why. I just picked it up, and my mentor at the time, she told me, no, that's for menopausal women. Like, you probably shouldn't take that one. Try this instead. Well, I was
Okay.
like, no, my body is saying yes to this one and I don't know why.
That's
And I
amazing.
trusted that. And
Yeah.
I'm so grateful. I trusted that intuition because I only took it for about 4 to 6 weeks, and I didn't experience another ovarian cyst rupture for like 5 years.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah. Thank goodness you
Yeah.
listened to it
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah. So plants can do really magical, profound things for us if we select the right remedies.
Mhm.
But then, in addition to that, I think there's so many herbs out there that can support fertility in various ways. And that's why working with like a naturopath or a
Mhm.
clinical herbalist is really helpful, because they've even studied plants that are beneficial in conjunction with like IVF or IUI.
Okay.
And so they can improve fertility rates when in conjunction with modern medicine.
Wow. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I've seen that a couple of times in practice as well. And it's really a beautiful thing.
Yeah, that it is absolutely, to see those two things work together to benefit women is just incredible. So what you do is incredible. So, are there like do you want to talk about certain ones today? Like maybe 2 or 3, however
Yeah.
many that we can focus on. And then I can, make a list for people too. So,
Yeah. That was hard for me to narrow it down.
okay.
When we
However
chatted
many you
before.
think.
Yeah. Well, there's just so many out there.
Mhm.
I would say the one at the top of my list would be red clover.
Okay.
We can use different parts of the plant for red clover. So red clover, the leaves are going to be more nutrient dense, like more mineral rich.
Okay.
But the flowers, the blossoms, are going to be more suited for balancing estrogen. So they have different chemical compounds in the flowers versus the leaves.
Okay.
And I typically use the blossoms in everything I can because they modulate estrogen.
Oh, wow. Which is
Yeah.
huge.
It's huge for almost everybody because we're
Mhm.
constantly exposed to estrogens in our environment.
Yeah.
And so they can normalize too low or too high of estrogen, which is really helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they are great at detoxifying the body, the liver, and the lymphatic system, but it's a super gentle detox. It's just kind of more of a supportive mechanism that it provides
Okay.
rather than like a super stimulating purgative.
Okay. Yeah.
Action. Yeah. So red clover blossoms would definitely be at the top of my list.
Okay.
Vitex would probably be the next. So most people, when they're studying fertility and trying to find resources, have come across Vitex berries or chase tree berries.
Okay.
And Vitex is really great at restoring the brain and ovaries to communicate with each other. And that tends to result in an increase in progesterone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Vitex is more of a stimulating herb, whereas a red clover is more of that modulating. So Vitex is very specific for certain types of hormonal pictures, like low progesterone.
Okay.
Yeah, but go ahead.
I'm sorry. Would that be something, something like that you would take at a certain time during your cycle?
You can.
Okay.
Yeah. There's different schools of thought on taking herbs at different times in your cycle. I think Vitex, if it's indicated for you, just taking one good dose in the morning every day is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there are some women who do experience a rather deeper dive of progesterone levels after ovulation, and that's when they need more of it. So they might need a second dose on that half of the cycle. Yeah, absolutely. So it being supportive for progesterone really is indicated for women who have like absent, missing periods, or their cycles are just super irregular. They never know when they're coming.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I was on birth control after I had my daughter, who is now 6, and I didn't have a period for 5 years until I stopped the birth control. Nearly 6 years, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, just crazy. So
Did it come right back after you stopped?
yeah, actually it did within a month, but because I was really concentrating on my health, eating right, I had cut out a lot of sugar, drinking lots of water, movement. I mean, it came back in a way that was much easier than when I was a teenager. And I have to think it has to do with just taking care of myself in general. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. So many women that does happen to, where their cycles don't come back. So it's really great that yours came back right away.
Mhm.
But while we're on that subject, for the women listening that have come off of birth control and haven't seen a return of their cycles, supporting your liver is going to be the best approach you can take.
Okay.
You likely don't need to be taking hormonal stimulating herbs. Just doing things like dandelion root or other
Okay.
bitter herbs can really help the liver normalize your hormones for you, and they tend to return their cycles pretty quickly.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a good piece of it. Good piece of
Yeah.
information.
It can save you a lot of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have a couple more that you can tell us about?
Yeah. Another one of my favorite herbs is white peony root.
Okay.
White peony is another one of those hormone normalizing herbs. And we've seen it be really helpful for women with endometriosis and PCOS,
Oh,
which
wow.
are leading causes of infertility.
Okay.
It's also supportive for increasing circulation in the pelvis and supporting detoxification through the liver. So it's just a really great neutral
Overall,
herb that
yeah.
most people can take.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll give you one more.
Okay.
Ashwagandha.
I've heard of that one.
Yeah, I think most people have these days. It's super popular because it's been researched really well at this point, and
Okay.
we've seen that it lowers excess cortisol levels. So it normalizes stress. It helps you feel grounded and feel less anxious and
Okay.
get deeper sleep. So it's supportive to balance your circadian rhythm again. And
Oh, wow.
yeah, that's super helpful for fertility.
Yeah, that's amazing. Okay.
Yeah.
So how do you choose which ones are best for you? Is that when a consultation comes into play?
I think so. Yeah. So I do always recommend that you work with like a skilled clinical herbalist or a naturopath, because while herbs are usually pretty harmless, sometimes they're just completely not indicated for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say when working with complex conditions, I would definitely seek advice from a naturopath or an herbalist. But if you're just looking for like some anxiety support, some sleep support, you could probably just go to your local, grocery store and find some teas that would be helpful.
Yeah. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah.
What else did I want to ask you? So can you grow some of these yourself, or are they difficult, or how do you do that?
The ones that I listed, probably not.
Okay.
Because, so like Vitex berries grow on a tree. So it'd be some time before you actually got berries from the tree. And
Yeah.
harvesting a root from ashwagandha would definitely take a year or two before you got one.
Okay.
Yeah. And I would assume if you're thinking about fertility, you're more eager to
Yes.
start now. Yeah.
So how do you start incorporating these? So you mentioned teas. What other ways can you get these into your daily life?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the beauty of herbal medicine is you can take herbs in so many different forms,
Okay.
but I am the biggest fan of anything you can commit to. So, yeah.
Like we talked about.
Yeah. Commitment is really important because herbs are going to value consistency over the dose. So taking a dose here and there and being inconsistent is not going to provide you with a lot of benefit, rather than just taking it multiple times a day, every day, as much as you can. So you need to consider how much time is involved in the type of remedy that you want to be taking.
Okay.
Yeah. So I tend to prefer tinctures, which are liquid extracts.
Okay.
Or Teas can be a little time involving, but the benefit of teas and tinctures is that they're already extracted. So they're in a liquid form, and
Okay.
the digestive system doesn't have to do any work to extract any of those compounds out. And most of us have some level of digestive inflammation, and it can be kind of hard to get a lot out of a capsule. So,
Okay.
yeah,
All right.
yeah.
That's good
Mhm.
information. So do you tell us about your business? Do you have some of these already pre-made? Do you make as people need?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I definitely have a pretty large dispensary at this point, and
Wow.
I like to custom formulate for people. So,
Okay.
depending on what their exact picture is, I will blend different herbs together in a tea form or a tincture form or whatever they need.
Okay. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Can
Uh-huh.
I like come see it sometime? Your
Oh,
place?
yeah.
That would be
Yeah,
awesome.
absolutely. Yeah, I'd love that.
Take a little tour. That would be awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
So do you have any other like helpful tips for us for how to incorporate these or just any
Yeah.
other tidbits? Yeah.
Yeah. So going back to the liver, I think the liver is one of the most important things when we're talking about hormones or fertility,
Okay.
because we are inundated with so many different toxins, and your liver is just, it's responsible for regulating your hormones and dealing with the toxins. And so adding liver loving herbs or foods into your diet can be super supportive to you long term.
Okay.
And you can do that in ways like, in terms of herbs, you can typically get dandelion leaves at the grocery store.
Oh, okay.
And some stores, like Asian grocery stores or Whole Foods, will carry burdock root.
Okay.
And you can add that into foods like soups or stews or salads.
Okay.
So that's really easy. Or more accessible options would just be bitter herbs like arugula, kale, collards,
Okay.
artichoke. And those are
Okay.
all great for the liver.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, sorry, keep
Um,
going.
I would also say take back the joy in eating and focusing on what you can eat rather than what you can't eat.
Oh, I love
Um,
that.
there's so much fear around food, and it's not necessary. We need to think about like all the lovely foods that are available to us that can support your health, instead of just focusing on like, what I can't eat, gluten or dairy, you name it.
Yeah.
It creates a lot of stress, and then we sometimes end up undernourished as women because we're trying to figure out what we can eat, and it seems like it's not a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
that's a beautiful tip right there is to focus
Yeah.
on. Yeah, absolutely. So I have a teenage daughter.
Mm.
She's the oldest. I have two younger daughters, so house full of girls. What advice would you give to moms with teenage daughters? She's not really struggling, but just I would like to maybe just give her a tea or something just to help in general with, the growing hormones and all of those things that come with being a teenager.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I think those liver supportive herbs would be super
Okay.
helpful,
Yeah.
just because like the hormones are rapidly changing and they're going up and down.
Yeah.
If you can support the liver, they will tend to normalize on their own.
Okay.
But there's other herbs, like going back to red clover, just being super gentle and normalizing to whoever is going to take it can be
Okay.
really supportive for young women.
Okay.
And raspberry leaf
Okay.
is really, really helpful. It can be deeply nourishing. It's high in calcium and magnesium. It
Okay.
also tends to reduce cramps. So,
Mm.
yeah,
Okay. That's what
that's a
we
good
need.
point. Yeah, yeah,
She also
yeah,
gets headaches, which I know that's probably magnesium. So right there is
yeah,
okay. Great
yeah, totally.
information.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, support the liver, support the liver, support the liver.
Okay. I
Yeah,
got it.
yeah,
And it's like,
um,
that, but to hear it, I keep hearing that and it just, it, it makes so much sense. I mean, everything's regulated through your liver. So
yeah, yeah. I mean, your body is a vessel of health, and it knows what to do. So if we can just support it in doing what it knows how to do best,
yeah,
I think that's the best approach that we can take.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So do you have that chart for us that you were talking about?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you have it handy?
Yeah, I could probably find it. Give me just a second.
Okay. Oh, there you go. Look at you.
Oh yeah. Oh, sorry. There is, can you guys see this?
Yeah. Yes, I can.
Yeah. So you can see here the nutrient values on the left, and there is a comparison of like spinach and kale next to nettle and dandelion root.
Okay.
And so if you're looking at, let's say, just magnesium, for example, and this is in comparison of a cup of
Okay.
these herbs or foods. So kale looks like it has somewhere around 37.4 milligrams, and spinach has 96.8. But then if you go over to nettle, it's got 860 milligrams of magnesium.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
I did not know that. That's amazing.
Yeah, so plants are pretty incredible. Nettle is considered a food in many parts of the world, and you'll find many recipes online adding it to soups and stews and salads, and just sauteed as a normal green, like anything else. But yeah,
That's awesome.
pretty great.
That's a great little, that's a nice little chart.
Yeah, I can share it with you, and you can add it to the list there.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much for that. That's incredible. I know, because I have struggled all throughout my life with migraines, and I've always been told, something to do with magnesium possibly. And so I try to get that in with spinach. It looks like I have some better options maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And those herbs are really great in tea form as well, like iced tea in the summer, and you can add some fruit to it. It's delicious. So,
okay. That's great to know. I'll be hitting you up for something.
Yeah. There's always an abundance of nettle around here.
Okay. Yeah. That's good to know. Yeah. I would love to come tour your whole setup sometime. I think that would be so cool.
Absolutely.
And
we can make a tea out of it.
Yeah. See how you do. Are you at a farmer's market too? Do you go to
Not.
Okay.
Yeah,
I thought I saw that you were at a farmer's market, but
yeah.
So where can people find you? Tell us do you have a website, your social media, all that fun stuff?
Yeah. So my business name is Lionhearted Herbals. So it's just lionheartedherbals.com.
Okay.
And my office is located in Plainfield, Indiana, but I don't have any office hours where you can just stop by.
Okay.
I am available through consultations, or, we can schedule a time to meet just like we're chatting about now.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. And you're on Instagram too, right?
I am.
Same name. Okay.
Yeah. Same name.
What is your preference for people to contact you? Do you have a preference?
Email.
Okay.
Or give me a call, please.
Okay.
No one calls anymore.
No, they don't. I think I prefer like texting.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, and that number is on your website probably?
Yeah. So it's 317-242-9798. Yeah.
Okay.
I'd be happy to hear from people.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I think I have some women that will definitely benefit from this, and hopefully, you can help them. So I appreciate it so much. Do you have anything else? I think we could probably do many topics. So if there's anything else that you need to share around fertility, but I just am so thankful for your time today.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. I hope it reaches the women that need it the most.
Yes, I do too.